My name is Mimi Snyder. I'm the director of the Prelicensure program, and I'm accompanied this morning by our dean of the School of Nursing, Dr. Deborah Chyun. She's going to open the program with a few words, and then I will provide a presentation to hopefully answer any questions that you may have. And congratulations to all of our accepted incoming freshman class who are present today, and also welcome to anyone who is a junior or senior in high school exploring schools and are taking opportunity of today to come and learn more about our School of Nursing here at Uconn. So, Dean?
I'm going to mess up your photography here. Well, welcome. We are delighted to have you here. I could not be happier that you have chosen or have chosen nursing as a career. It is a wonderful career, and we need you. You know there's a nationwide nursing shortage. As you heard in the opening remarks at the Gamble Pavilion, this is a great university, and I think you got some flavor of the variety of what you will experience here. A little bit about me, because I think for the parents, if I was a parent, I am actually a parent, but my children are older, you want to have some sense of who is the leader here. I have been in nursing since 1975. I have over 30 years of academic experience. I originally went to Boston College for my bachelor's degree, followed by Yale for my master's as a cardiovascular clinical nurse specialist. And my PhD is not in nursing, it's in chronic disease epidemiology, also from Yale, but from the School of Medicine and the Department of Epidemiology and Public Health. As I said, I've been in education for a long, long time. I spent 21 years at Yale in the School of Nursing as director of all of their acute care nursing programs. I was then lured away to New York University to head their PhD program, which I did for about 5-6 years, and then when the opportunity to step in as executive associate dean, so the number 2 person in charge, I did, and that experience led me to apply for the deanship here at Uconn, which Connecticut has been my home, and so it's much closer to home than running back and forth into New York. NYU has about 1,600 students. We have about 800 here, so it's a little bit easier to manage. I've been here since January of 2018. I am the 10th dean of the School of Nursing, which was founded in 1942 by Carolyn Ladd Widmer. So you may say to yourself, why is she at Uconn? She spent her life in the private sector. I am at Uconn because most of the great schools of nursing, University of Washington, Pitt, University of San Francisco, California, UCLA, UNC Chapel Hill, are what? They're all public universities. And I saw great potential here at Uconn to make us on par with those great nursing universities. So why should you come to Uconn? Well, you should only come if you feel that the fit is right. But it is a top-ranked university, aside from the School of Nursing. And your first 2 years here, you're really going to spend most of your time, although we try to keep you engaged in what we're doing in the School of Nursing, you're going to be taking your general education requirements. And there is such a breadth and depth of what is available to you. This really is a great university. And those courses are important. We just don't want it. We're not training nurses. Those days are gone. We are educating you. We want you well-rounded. We want you well-read. We want you to be civil citizens. And we want you to be able to think critically. And so all of these other courses are necessary for that. You will also engage with a diverse group of other students. Students will say, you know, it was really interesting. In my first year here, I had, one of my roommates was in agriculture, another was in fine arts, another was engineering. So you will not just be with people who are in nursing, and hopefully these relationships will last you a lifetime. So certainly because of the university, but also because of the students. You are all to be congratulated. We had an increase of over 100 applicants this year. which put us over 2,000 applicants for about 125 slots in the program. So this is very, very competitive, and you all need to be congratulated because you had to work really hard to get here. In terms, while we're quite large at 800 students, and about 500 of those are in our traditional undergraduate program, we really try to be a very personalized place. All of the students have an academic advisor. We have an advising staff. We have advising and enrollment services staff that are available. In addition to Dr. Snyder, we have an associate dean for academic affairs, we have an associate dean for research, and we have an associate dean for faculty and student affairs. We also place a great deal of emphasis on teaching and learning science. And one of our faculty, who's director of teaching and learning, spends a lot of time with both students and faculty about how to facilitate learning. There is a whole science behind it, and we are really committed to that. We also, in terms of another reason to think about Uconn, are our faculty. I can truthfully say that nowhere in New England will you have an experience that you will have here. Our clinical faculty are strong. We have a rich network of clinical sites across the state that we are in active partnership with. We go there and help them with their research. We help them with their teaching. We help them as they attain magnet status. We have several joint appointments with some of these sites, so we really have strong relationships across the state. The other two reasons are research and innovation. You are in a Research 1 intensive university, and one of the reasons that I came to the School of Nursing is because of the nursing research that is going on here. In pain, neonatal, maternal child health, aging, and prevention and management of chronic disease. And some of you will say, well, I'm coming from my bachelor's degree. Why do I need to be interested or care about nursing research? Nursing, the profession of nursing, is evidence-based. It is from the research conducted by doctorally prepared people that we develop our practice. We just don't do things because they've always been done that way. We demand an evidence base. And our clinical partners, one of the reasons that Uconn grads are such in high demand is because of their preparation in research and evidence-based practice. There are tons of opportunities here for you to work alongside faculty who are conducting research. And we encourage students to continue. We prepare you for lifelong learning, and whether you stay as a bachelor's prepared nurse at the bedside or decide to go on for your master's or your doctorate of nursing practice or PhD, and we have programs that can transition you seamlessly into those programs. We are really aimed at providing you with lifelong learning. The university itself has a huge emphasis on entrepreneurship and innovation, and within the school we have a visiting professor who is devoted to innovation in the curriculum. It is being integrated throughout the curriculum. We have certificate programs, and we are working closely with innovators across the university. And again, innovation is a little bit new to us in a formal sense in nursing, although most nurses are quite innovative. But several of our students, in fact we have a sophomore student I think, who just put in a patent the other day. And we are aiming to make you think critically and to examine problems and come up with your own innovation. And I think this is quite unique to a school of nursing. And then lastly, for the parents, we are a great value. We have high retention and high four-year graduation rates. Because of our relationships with our clinical partners, the internship programs that are available to students in the summertime, students do generally not have any difficulty finding a position after graduation. So we really are a great value. Once again, I'm delighted that you're here. I will be out in the atrium after this session, so please feel free to come up to me, introduce yourself, ask any questions that you might have. But make good use of the day. Talk to the people in this room, talk to the students out there to get a feel for how it might be to be a Uconn School of Nursing student. So thank you.
Thank you, Dean Chun, and welcome again to our wonderful School of Nursing. All of you are sitting right now in the portion of the building that was constructed and finished in 2012, the Widmer Wing, the Widmer Auditorium specifically, which holds comfortably 175 people. I feel terrible that there are people having to stand in the back. We do have one seat up front. I would welcome anyone who does not want to stand for the next hour to come up here, but if you're content standing, that's fine too. I just want you to know that we wish we had enough seats for everyone, but we are really at max capacity in here. So thank you all for coming today. I hope to answer as many questions remaining if you have any about our School of Nursing. If you joined us in the fall, some of the slides might look a little bit familiar, but I did try to switch it up to provide some relevant information for those who are accepted students coming in. We are ranked in the top 25 of best colleges, as well as number 18 spot in the nation's best public universities. Our School of Nursing, I haven't really had a chance to investigate the validity of the source, but we received an email the other day that said we're the top 25th nursing program in the United States. But again, I can't validate that, but that's just something that came across my desk. We get stuff like this all the time. We are fully accredited, as Dean Chun said. We recently went through an accreditation process for our Doctor of Nursing Practice program, as well as our postmaster's certificates. It seemed to be very successful based on the reviewers. We will get our final report in October. Our next accreditation for the pre-licensure programs, both the traditional undergraduate and our second degree accelerated program, will be in 2025. We were fully accredited for 10 years at the last visit in 2015. This is just a quick snapshot of the building that you're sitting in right now, actually the view along that wall. The Josephine Dillard collection. Josephine Dillard was the first full professor of nursing at the School of Nursing, and she was an avid historian of nursing, and so she collected all sorts of artifacts over the years of her career, and many of those have been donated to the School of Nursing that reside out in the Widmer Auditorium. So a curator of our museum and artifacts right now is Dr. Thomas Long, a visiting professor, and he also teaches some courses here in our school. The snapshot at the top is just in one of our settings for simulation, I believe, in clinical simulation, which is in one of the many rooms that we have across the atrium, or the lobby as it's referred to here. And I hope that you'll have an opportunity to go explore around after we're done here today. Our mission in the School of Nursing is essentially to disseminate knowledge that we gather and we acquire, we learn through research and innovative research. Engage in expert practice, whether it's here in simulation or it's off campus, educating nursing scholars. Our role here is to educate our up-and-coming nursing workforce, to prepare you as nurse generalists so that when you graduate from Uconn School of Nursing with a Bachelor of Science, with a concentration in nursing, a BS degree, you will be able to go out and get a job in virtually any particular area, whether it's in acute care, public care, community care, home care, etc. We are also concerned that you have a strong foundation for understanding the importance of health and wellness and promotion of our patients, families, communities, and our populations. Our philosophy, which is also on individual poster boards to my right, praxis, the guiding principles of our philosophy here in School of Nursing is praxis. P is for professionalism. We can't stress that enough. From the moment our students begin in the program in the fall semester in their freshman courses, the educating process, the acculturation process, and what it means to be a professional nurse begins with the very first coursework. Bless you. R is respect for others, and not only others, but oneself, and that's so important, that there's a healthy respect for the individual, but also a healthy respect for the peers, the faculty, and all the people that our students will be interacting with. Accountability. This is one of the most important ones as far as I'm concerned. Being accountable for one's actions, living up to it, learning from mistakes, moving forward, but always stepping up when a mistake is made or a deadline is missed, and owning up to it and moving forward. I think that that's a hard thing for some people to do sometimes, and it really is the essence of a true professional. Excellence. The X is for excellence in practice, research, and teaching, and in all that we do. So we strive for excellence. We never always fully attain it, perhaps. It's a relative term, but we always are shooting for a higher bar each time. And that's what drives us. That's what drives us in our mission. That's what drives us as faculty, and that's what drives us as educators here in the School of Nursing. Integrity and inquisitiveness is the I as part of the Praxis acronym. Integrity in all that we do. We know that unfortunately there's unethical things that happen in our real world, not only in healthcare and business world and government, etc. And it can really muddy our view and our perspective of what it means to have high integrity and high ethical terms of practice. But integrity and inquisitiveness are essential. Inquisitiveness is the underlying premise of someone who can think critically, who is interested in knowing about something, who wants to strive to learn more. So we hope that through our research-intensive environment, with the faculty who are vested in our students, that you, as students coming in, will also have an astute sense of inquisitiveness to drive your knowledge. And then service. Service to students, service to the profession, service to the community. We have students in all 4 levels, as Dean Chun said, and every one of them are involved in some sort of service, whether it's volunteering for a program such as today, as Christina has, I got the name right? I'm sorry, I got the name wrong. I apologize. Julia is volunteering today. That's the 3rd attempt. She's one of our juniors, but rising senior in the fall. So she and many others out in the lobby have volunteered to come here today through the help of our admission enrollment staff, and I really appreciate the service of coming to this event. They also engage in service, in community service, in food drives, in public service out there as a part of their student organizations that they're a part of. So service abounds here at the School of Nursing, and the students have many opportunities to become engaged and become great ambassadors, if you will, for the School of Nursing and as well as their cohort within the program. We have 10 program outcomes, and I did go over some of these in brief in the fall open house, but I just kind of want to provide a snapshot on one slide that captures all of them. Synthesized knowledge. What I mean by this is that all the liberal arts foundation courses that our students take in the first 2 years, it is essential that they understand and are able to take a lot of what they've learned in those courses and apply them, and they will, to their nursing practice. So understanding what it means to pull from the knowledge gained from our biology, our chemistry, our anthropology course, our sociology, our English courses, our whatever courses they've taken as part of the general education package, though that knowledge is not for want. That knowledge does apply into the knowledge base needed to be a well-rounded nurse. Demonstrating professionalism, that's part of our praxis philosophy, but also professionalism in how we present ourselves in email, in phone conversation, in personal conversation. It's very important that we understand the importance of professionalism and how we are perceived and viewed by others who meet us for the first time. Evaluating personal value systems is an inherent part of coming into a nursing program and any health science discipline, because we have to understand and be true to what our value systems are to understand to what extent those will influence or affect in some way how we care for the public and how we present ourselves as a nurse in this case. So understanding what your personal value systems are and understanding that they are your value systems and not necessarily the value systems of the people or the public that you will be caring for. Designating, designing, organizing, and continuously improving is something we're always in a work of progress, if you will, just being human. We're always striving for improvement of the self and improvement of others, but in the process of doing it, we want you to be doing it in a safe manner. That's very important. We want our graduates, and we know when they graduate, they will demonstrate great initiative, great self-direction. I see this in many of our first-year students. Sometimes they go through a little bit of a growth spurt, and then they demonstrate this more so in their second year. Definitely by the time they are seniors in their final courses, I see these outcomes being shown by them before they commence. I happen to have the privilege of working with a wonderful group of 125 senior students this year in our graduating cohort of 2019, and I can tell you, every one of them are meeting every one of these outcomes. Compassionate, high-value healthcare through teamwork and collaboration. No agency these days is going to want to hire a graduate from any nursing program who doesn't espouse the value and uphold the value of teamwork and collaboration and working with others and working as part of a team. No longer can healthcare and health disciplines work and operate in silos. And this is ingrained and embedded in our students throughout the various coursework and clinical experiences that they have throughout the program. We want the students to be able to formulate and articulate a philosophy of nursing. And one of the very first courses students take in our program in the first year, they are asked as one of their assignments to write their philosophy of nursing as they currently understand it. And then they'll be asked at some other point later to write that again and see to what extent it has changed. We want our students, when they graduate, to understand the value of collaboration with appropriate stakeholders. What we mean by stakeholders are individuals, for example, in the organizations that hire you for employment. For some, that could be a nurse manager or a director or an educator. It just depends on the areas in which you take employment. But all the people who are involved in helping you do the good work that you're going to be doing are categorized within the umbrella of stakeholders. We want you to understand and develop and work toward creating, as Dean Chun just alluded to through our innovation and our focus on innovation, evidence-based practice standards that help to drive the care that's being given. I cannot tell you how many things that I learned back when I was first in nursing school many, many years ago that we no longer do because it's now deemed not safe. But yet when I was in nursing school, all those things they taught us in the textbook and what we did to care for our patients was the standard of care at that time. And we were told that's the gold standard. This is what you do for your patients. And it wasn't until we had research to show that that wasn't the best way to do it. Here's a better way to do it. And in fact, if you continue to do that, you might bring more harm. Can you imagine? No nurse graduates from school expecting to harm any patient. But we graduate from school with a knowledge base at the time that tells us, to the best of our knowledge, this is the best evidence that we have currently that tells us this is what we should do. So think about that, just in terms of medicine and healthcare in general, all the changes that have occurred in the course of our lives. We want our students to understand how to integrate research methods to support best current practice. So it's not good enough just to read an article and say, oh, look at this article, had some findings, let's just put this into a practice in our nursing unit. We want to make sure that it was quality research that was done so that you're not changing or altering practice based on just a few studies with very few participants. So our students are educated to know how to critique and read the research that's out there to be able to know what is good research from not so good research. So our general education foundations are grounded in these following categories. The newest one that was not on this slide in the fall is the last one, environmental health literacy. That is a requirement through all of Uconn for general education, no matter what discipline or major a student has. And environmental literacy edition was not to create more credits. In fact, many courses and disciplines have been able to include the environmental literacy outcomes within the context of an existing course, and we have done that in the School of Nursing. So our students who are starting in the fall will have the environmental literacy as a component of their public health course in their final semester, in their final senior year. Science, technology, social sciences, humanities, and diversity and multiculturalism. When a student begins our program, they are assigned an academic advisor, and our students in the first 2 years will also work in conjunction with their academic advisor in the School of Nursing with our professional advisor, Lindsay Darcy, to make sure they're getting the appropriate courses that they need to meet all of our content areas of our general education. Science foundations are noted on this slide. It should go without saying that nursing is not only an art but a science, and is strongly grounded in the science knowledge. Hence why almost every nursing program that I know of in the United States anyway does require almost all of these courses to some degree. So biology and chemistry are taken within the first year of the curriculum. Generally biology and then chemistry, sometimes they reverse it. But these courses are required to be able to move forward with science courses for which they are a prerequisite in the sophomore year. Genetics is also taken in the sophomore year. Anatomy and physiology is a 2-semester course, 1 and 2. Nutrition, microbiology, and pharmacology are initially woven together in 2 course series called clinical sciences, but then pharmacology and elements of these are threaded throughout the rest of the curriculum in the specialty-specific courses that our students take. Pathophysiology is also introduced in the clinical science course, but it's also woven into all of the different specialty courses that our students take. Psychology, sociology, and anthropology are part of the general education foundation courses, And these meet the needs of various content areas here in our curriculum. And again, through the assistance of advisors, our students are led to select from the appropriate courses needed for graduation. Nursing foundation courses are noted here. There are courses in the first year, first 2 semesters, that provide an introduction to the health discipline of nursing as well as healthcare delivery systems. These basically are the first 2 nursing courses our freshmen take in the first year to help lay the foundation, if you will, for all subsequent courses that they take. Healthcare nursing research and evidence-based research. Because we are a research-intensive university, we have a course specifically devoted to nursing research and the foundations of understanding that. And then in the senior fall semester, the students who start in the fall will have a course on evidence-based practice and quality improvement. Graduates of our program have a very strong foundation in these areas and are highly sought after by healthcare facilities, particularly hospitals, who are striving for developing more evidence-based practice solutions for the care delivery of their patients. So when they see a graduate come to them with already this foundation of knowledge, it's wonderful. Ethical ways of knowing, in a course that students will take in nursing ethics. It also talks about healthcare ethics. That's also one of the foundational courses, and they take it concurrent with one of their very early clinical courses. And then quality and safety is woven throughout the entire program. In every one of our courses, there'll be emphasis on what it means to provide quality care to this patient population in the safest manner possible. Nursing science and praxis courses. Praxis meaning the delivery of the care, but also guided by the philosophy praxis, so it goes hand in hand. It is actually a component of our clinical evaluation tools. So students are not only evaluated on their thinking processes in the context of clinical, but also their praxis behaviors in the context of clinical. This occurs when students are caring for adults with either non-life-threatening health conditions and then advancing later to adults with life-threatening conditions in a more acute care environment, care of children, care of laboring individuals, care of individuals with behavioral health problems, population and public health, individuals, and leadership in capstone practicum. And I'll talk a little bit more about some of these as we go through the future slides. So some unique attributes of our freshman year. And if you can kind of envision, what students begin with in their freshman year can continue throughout all 4 years, but then there's other new opportunities that emerge each subsequent year. So in the freshman year, you're really delving into becoming and learning about what it means to be a nurse in terms of interacting with nursing faculty here at the School of Nursing, but also peers who are in your major, and kind of understanding how that all fits and what does it mean to think like a nurse, for example. Some of our students participate in the various learning communities, and within the school we have a nursing learning community as well as many others. Many of our nursing students live either in the nursing learning community by choice, or they also live in the public house. So there's several other learning communities. There's I think there's over 16 residential learning communities. They even have learning communities for commuter students, but they're not residential ones. But if you're learning about the learning communities and want to know more, we do have a table about the learning community in the Whitmer classroom, and there are individuals that can answer more questions about it. Professor Nancy Cronin is the faculty advisor for the nursing learning community, and I believe I did see her here this morning. Student Nurses Association, something that our freshmen are able to participate in, and I strongly encourage all of our freshmen to truly take an active role in coming to the meetings, learning about what the organization stands for, what they do. They elect their own officers, and every spring there's an opportunity in the senior year for students involved with SNA to participate in a national conference. And I have a slide about our recent one at Salt Lake City, Utah, a little bit later. Oops, let me go that one more. Students who are admitted to honors program at the university as a freshman are automatically admitted to honors nursing. But within nursing, in the sophomore and junior year, there's also another opportunity for students who may not have entered in as an honors student to apply to enter as a nursing honors scholar. So there's 3 opportunities to be able to enter the honors program. Nursing science and praxis courses. I went backwards, I apologize. So learning community, they focus on academic, experiential, social activities are threaded throughout all of our learning communities, And they tend to take on a theme that coincides with the particular type of learning community. So those in the public health house will probably be involved in a lot of public health and community service activities as a component of the public health house. I believe all the nursing communities, or all the learning communities, but I know in fact for the nursing learning community, we have a mentorship, a very active mentorship program. So the incoming freshmen during their freshman orientation are invited to sign up for a listserv through a link that's provided during the day that they register for their classes, if they want to have a mentor to be paired with. And then our upperclassmen mentors will look at the list of students coming in who expressed interest, and then they will very strategically, I might say, pair them up with the incoming freshmen as closely as possible to their similar interests, likes, etc., so that every incoming freshman has an opportunity to have a mentor that will work with them at least for the first year or two. And then we ask for those students as they advance through their program to consider to be a mentor for our incoming freshmen every year. And it's been a very strong program. I've never worked at a university, and this is the third nursing program I've worked for, that has had such a robust and really tight mentorship program available for our students. And many can share that they have had great opportunities with respect to the program that when they came in and the mentorship abilities that they were engaged in. Did you both have opportunities in the mentorship program? I'm going to let you both talk briefly, just a few words. Just give me a second, okay? All right. Student Nurses Association just got back a couple weeks ago from Salt Lake City, Utah. It moves around the country where the convention is, but we had all those students in these pictures are students that went from our nursing program with the faculty advisor, Dr. Denise Barassa. And so they had quite a good time. I love that view in the upper left corner there. But this is something that typically happens in the spring semester. The other thing I want to add, and then I'm going to have our student volunteers come and speak with you a little bit about their experiences. I told them they didn't have to talk a long time, but I'd love for them to be able to engage with you. So our Diversity and Inclusion Task Force is headed by Professor Kim Giwa. She's also our clinical placement coordinator. And we have meetings every month, and she puts out through a listserv for anybody in the School of Nursing who is interested in attending. This applies to undergraduate, graduate, doctoral students, as well as faculty. It helps connect students across the different programs, which is very helpful. They learn about different cultural centers that we have here. Uconn is a campus rich in cultural centers, and I'm always amazed at the wonderful work that all of them are doing. It also provides the students to learn about minority student organizations that also provide scholarships, mentorship, and support, and the various chapters that exist throughout the state of Connecticut. It provides strong networking and mentorship for the participants in the Inclusion and Diversity Task Force, and it helps to promote inclusivity within the context of the overall mission of the School of Nursing. So without further ado, I'd like to invite our two students up here to be able to share some highlights of their experiences here as a student. So they remind me that they can speak loudly, and they do because our students have a voice, and they learn it very early on.
Hi, I'm a freshman here. My name is Jessica Delgado. I'm actually a part of the Diversity and Inclusion Task Force. It's really helpful if you want to talk about anything. And I have a mentor through the mentoring program. I didn't get to meet with her a lot because of conflicting schedules, but she was definitely helpful. And there's other mentoring programs here, at the cultural center, so the African American Cultural Center, or Puerto Rican Latin Cultural Center, or the Asian Cultural Center. But yeah, nursing, this program right here, they just started it, and it's really helpful to me. The meetings, they provide food. You'll find that all the meetings have food, so you'll never go hungry here. But yeah, this meeting, it's about an hour long. And at first, I know I was oh my gosh, I'm scared to go to this meeting. It's just gonna be all adults. But it's a lot of students that go now. It has definitely grown. And I hope it grows more as it continues. But yeah.
And so I'm Julia, and I am a junior. I have both a mentor to myself, and then when I became a sophomore, I actually gained two mentees. and I never met my mentor, but I've met with my mentees multiple times. They had a lot of questions about what classes to choose, when they should take these classes. And I know the mentorship program also ran things like a movie night. I think we went ice skating once. So sort of stuff like that, just to get you involved so you know upperclassmen and underclassmen, because that can be really helpful. I also am a chairperson for the Student Nurses Association. I didn't go on the conference trip this year, but I know a bunch of people who did, and it's a really great organization to be involved in. And I lived in the learning community both my freshman and sophomore year, and my sophomore year I was a floor mentor for the learning community. So that's sort of just another way that like you have someone to reach out to, you have someone that lives with you that knows about freshman year, knows what's going on, and we would run events like chem and bio study sessions. We have funding, so we did food for finals, so like late night pizza down in our study lounge and stuff like that.
But I forgot that I'm a part of learning community. So I'm so sorry. Yeah, I live there right now. It's in northwest of Russell. I don't know if you guys know what it is, but where the visitor center is, it's like the building right across the street.
They used to let you tour it on open houses. I'm not sure if they still do. But
Yeah, it's really nice, like she said. Like it helps you like make a lot of friends, and everyone's like taking the same classes as you, so like you all struggle at the same time. Not that you struggle a lot, but like you all like have yourselves, and like you'll never feel like alone for that reason, because everyone like you see them in class, and then you see them when you get home, so it's like family kind of.
normally there was like a big sort of like caravan of all of us walking to chem at the same time in the morning.
Yeah.
Just out of this one building.
Is there anything else you want to add? Let's give them a round of applause. I always find it so much richer when you can have testimonials of the lived experience of anything, right? And our students are awesome here. I came to the School of Nursing in 2017 after finishing my PhD through the nursing program, so I am a bona fide alum, and I'm very proud of that. I wear my Husky alum very proudly. And I don't live too far from campus, which is even greater. But more importantly, it was a treatment that I experienced as a PhD student that really led me to believe this was where I really needed to be at this stage of my career. And it's been a wonderful move and opportunity in a highly supportive environment. We have other students here volunteering out there who I'm sure would be happy to answer any questions, as I'm sure Julia and Jessica would be willing to do for any questions that any of you out there have of their experiences. And it was nice to hear from the perspective of a first year and a second year, third year student, excuse me. I keep wanting to advance. So, some uniqueness of the sophomore year experience. So everything I've already mentioned still applies, and then to build on that, as I said earlier, the honors program is an option for these students if you are so inclined to want to apply. When you come in through Uconn as an honors student in your first year, you don't have to reapply. You're automatically in the nursing honors. But if you want to consider doing honors and the work that goes with that, in the second and third year, you have an opportunity to go and apply for that. Our Nursing Honors webpage has all the forms and explanation of some of the activities and the plan of study, if you will, that a student would follow. In the sophomore year, students are currently introduced, but it will be changing to the public health course in itself will be in the senior semester with the new curriculum that begins in the fall. But there are opportunities for community and public health engagement in the context of other events that occur on campus, whether it's through flu clinics, etc. It just depends on where a student is in their program, but there's health screening clinics, blood pressure clinics, etc. We have state-of-the-art simulation rooms and bays, and we are going through a process of renovating one of our rooms so that it's a two-way mirror that will provide for some additional high-fidelity exchanges in terms of simulation with groups of students engaged and other groups of students being able to observe. Our Student Nurses Association is also available for membership to join the group, as well as continue to work with your academic advisor. Every student here has to meet with their academic advisor before they can register for classes for the next semester. And so faculty are asked to expand their office hours and opportunities to meet with the students. On occasion, the faculty may want to do like a Skype or a WebEx or a virtual type of a meeting if the schedules seem to not be coinciding. But most often, it's always encouraged that they meet face-to-face. I always make my students meet with me face to face. So I expand the hours so that we can do that, because I think it's very important. Urban Service Track is a multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary health professions students who engage in community service. And it's comprised of the students in the School of Medicine, School of Pharmacy, Social Work, School of Nursing. Quinnipiac University's PA program is also involved, and the School of Dental Medicine here at the University of Connecticut. So these students involved in UST, in the short, engage in many different community service projects throughout the course of their time involved in this program. In the junior year, some unique things. Students will be introduced to evidence-based research and research in general, nursing research. They will begin their clinical experiences. And these days, the clinical ratios have changed markedly with respect to the sites that we go to. When I first moved to Connecticut, every single clinical group, no matter what school, agencies would allow 8 students for one faculty. But that has slowly changed because of regulations, changes of the agencies, to the point that some of our clinical sites will only allow 5 students at a time within the respective unit or environment or the department, up to 8. So it wouldn't exceed 8 students. So we do have the benefit, because of our wonderful, experienced adjunct faculty pool, to keep our clinical groups small. Students are introduced in this junior year to clinical specialty areas, such as either adult health, behavioral health, child health, maternal child. So it really depends on the sequencing. Students either will be in medical, surgical, and behavioral health in one semester, then the next semester they'll have pediatrics and maternity, and then they switch the opposite semester. So they don't take, all the students don't take those same courses at the same time. Students also have the opportunity to attend a career internship that's offered. We have a fall career open house, if you will, where many agencies, healthcare facilities are invited to come here, and we have it in our student union ballroom. And predominantly it's attended by our senior class, but it's also available for any of the junior students if they're so inclined to come during the time that they're here, and learn about job prospects, internship opportunities for the summer after the junior year, but before the start of their senior year. Honors program is again an option for the students at this level, as well as involvement in urban service track. Study abroad opportunities start to come available for students at this level, and there are flyers out in the lobby and also in Winmer 01 that talk about our current study abroad options. I have some slides specifically about the various countries and opportunities our students participate in. Students in this year, the junior year, also have their first experience at attending Athena Scholarship Day. Our Athena Scholarship Day is on Monday this year, April 15th. Also tax day, I guess. But anyway, we have a rich, robust group of research presentations, coding presentations, and posters from undergraduate program, honors, graduate, and doctoral students. And we have many of the honors posters in the room Winmer 01 just from this year. Very impressive, and I encourage you to go see the work that our students engage in. Here's a snapshot of the variety of different clinical sites that our students would be in starting as early as the junior year. In the fall of the junior year, the students have their first introductory clinical courses, but then in the spring of their junior year, they go into the more specialty areas such as pediatrics, maternity, adult health, and behavioral health. In the senior year, one of the highlights for the students, in addition to the fact that it's the end of their program and it's their senior year, is the fact that they're going to be engaged in a very intensive clinical rotation in their very final semester called a clinical capstone. Students also have opportunities for short-term, what they call capstone practicum study abroad, which generally are 2 weeks in duration. And they also have increased involvement with high-fidelity simulation as a component of the capstone course as well as their specialty courses. They have the opportunity to attend the national conference for SNA. There's also a Connecticut Public Health Conference that's been going on for quite a few years that several of our students present posters at. We had some this year. They continue to work with their faculty advisor, also for the purpose of strategically outlining an NCLEX preparation plan that they will be adhering to in addition to what they are assigned and will do as a component of the capstone practicum course. They can continue working in urban service track And students have an opportunity in the senior year to also enroll in graduate coursework, particularly students who are interested or on the track of the BS to PhD or the BS to DNP program. There's core courses that are graduate level courses our students can enroll in as early as the senior year. Athena Scholarship is really important at this point because it is at this event that our students in the senior capstone practicum present their evidence-based practice project that they worked on in the context of clinical. So we had 42 or 44 posters this year that I'm really looking forward to seeing. I've actually seen the template of them electronically already, but they will be presenting their and disseminating their research in terms of evidence-based practice on Monday. So looking forward to that. Students are engaged in NCLEX preparation in the final leg of that, if you will, process in that final semester. But NCLEX preparation in our program really begins in the fall of the junior year. When they start the fall of the third year, they will be introduced to Assessment Technologies Incorporated, ATI, and this company provides a product that many schools in New England, but also we here at Uconn, who have been using them for over 10 years, will include ATI testing throughout all of our clinical didactic courses. Students have an opportunity also to engage in mock interviews, resume preparation assistance, and understanding what they need to do for their very first interview and preparation to go and how to apply for the national licensure exam called the NCLEX. So they are guided through this process with information in this final senior year. Another event which I failed to add on here, but I always mean to and I'm going to today, is called Postcards from Reality. The Postcards from Reality is an evening event that all juniors need to mark their calendars for the senior year final semester. But what we do is we invite up to 15 to 25, 26 of our alums from past graduating classes who are working in a variety of different clinical areas. And they come to campus, we have a very nice dinner, and they have speakers that are selected to tell about some of their experiences. But what we do is have students, our senior class, have 15, 20-minute sessions where they sit around a table and they talk, or they go to a room with these alums that speak about, without any faculty hovering, mind you, about their experiences working in the various clinical specialties. And it's very valuable for our soon-to-be graduates to be hearing that. Here are some additional pictures within the context of different clinical settings that our students would be in, perhaps even in the senior year. So these last two slides, for the curriculum anyway, focus primarily on the sample curriculum plan. This is also available in a PDF document on our School of Nursing website for the traditional BS program. So the students who are beginning this fall, who will be the class of 2023 graduates, will be under a slightly different curriculum in terms of sequencing of courses and clinical hours distribution, etc. But in the first couple of semesters, it looks very course heavy, as you can see. But many of our students bring in AP classes that transfer in for the credit as long as you've earned a 4 or a 5 on the test for that. Or they have early college experience courses they've taken through high school. And those courses will transfer in not only for the credit, but also the grade. Very important. And students have, by the end of their first semester, to make a decision as to whether they want to bring those ECE credits over. So many of the initial courses in the first couple of years for general education, our students can come in with quite a few credits already completed. I worked closely with the incoming freshman class last year doing orientation as well as registration for fall classes, and I was pretty amazed to see how many credits these students are coming in with already transferable for college credits out of high school. Far more than when I went to college. So it's a different game here. So it could lighten those first couple semester credits of 17 credits in the semester to as few as 12 to 15, depending on how many courses were transferred in. The third and fourth year curriculum are kind of in a snapshot outlined here. But as you can see, the very final semester, the 8th semester, I don't know if this is working, yeah, the 8th semester, it looks like, oh gee, there's only 2 courses. Well, one of them is a 9-credit clinical capstone leadership course, and the other one is a public health course. This public health course houses in environmental health literacy outcomes, as I mentioned earlier. It currently, in a different format, is offered earlier in the semester, earlier in the year. I think I can go back here. The public health course is traditionally taken over here over here. So it's shifting, it's moving around. Students in our program take 2 writing intensive courses, and one of them in our program is the one that is in right here. It's the evidence-based practice course, quality improvement. The W there designates it's a writing course. And then they have to take another writing intensive course, ideally within the first 2 years outside of the discipline. And all of our writing courses on campus are designated with the W. So life at Uconn is varied, it's diverse, there's multiple opportunities to engage in service learning, community work, student organizations, research dissemination. This hall holds many of our larger nursing classes as well as the room across the atrium, but then non-nursing courses could also typically meet in all of the other buildings. Other university schools also use this room. So some of the top requirements for our program are highlighted on this slide. One of the best pieces of advice that I can offer is if you haven't ever had immunization titers done, get them done now. Because you have to have them to gain access to any clinical agency. It's true for any nursing program. And the sooner you know whether you have active immunity or not against any of these multiple childhood illnesses for which I would say all of you have had immunization for, hepatitis, measles, mumps, rubella, as well as varicella. It's no longer acceptable for us to say, yes, you had the vaccine on these dates and show that. Agencies want to know you're truly immune. And what we're finding is about 25% in every one of these younger cohorts coming up are not immune to hepatitis and or measles, mumps, rubella. So they end up having to go through a strategic, sequenced revaccination and then have titers redrawn. We currently are requiring all of our sophomore level students to have this done by the fall semester. So if you can get that done in your first semester, you'll be years ahead of the game in terms of some clinical requirements. All students have to have an American Heart Association professional rescue or CPR. We switched to only American Heart just this last year. We used to also accept Red Cross, but we found that our agencies are requiring American Heart. So we're going with that. All students have a criminal background check and drug screening and uniform and health assessment equipment. This is provided at the beginning of their clinical rotations, and they receive it in the fall of their junior year, but criminal background check, drug screening happens prior to the start of that junior year. So it's the summer between the end of the sophomore and the beginning of their junior year, they have to have this done. Students will have to have a laptop beginning our program because we do online testing. We use testing software that will begin with the incoming freshman class called Exam Soft. And the program the students take their test on is called Examplify. And students need to have a reliable means of transportation no later than the beginning of their clinical of their junior year, because our students can travel anywhere from 20 miles to 60 miles potentially to a clinical site. The majority of our sites, though, are actually in the greater Hartford area. The last 3 years, NCLEX pass rates for our program have been really great. The 95%, however, is not the final. We don't hear the final in the department from the Department of Board of Examiners in the state of Connecticut until April. Every state has different ways of reporting, but this was based on the fall reports of the students who had completed the NCLEX who graduated last year. So the final report always comes out in spring of the year after the students graduate. But as you can see, it's gone up over the last 3 years, but we're always well above the national, which is 80%. So a few things about study abroad. We have Ireland, which is running this summer. It tends to go between the sophomore, spring and the junior fall semester, and students are able to go for 4 weeks and complete a nursing research course that we accept for transfer through the University of Dublin. Students are currently, there's about 7 students in Puerto Rico at a semester-long study abroad for medical, surgical, and behavioral health nursing, and they've been there since January. They'll be coming home very soon with faculty who've been teaching in those content areas. And they work all their clinical at the VA center there in Puerto Rico, San Juan. South Africa is going to come back. We had a temporary hiatus from going here for drought conditions and some other concerns that pulled us out, as well as many other universities a year ago. So we did not have a group in South Africa this fall, nor will we next spring. But our aim is to have another group go, and preparations and plans are underway for fall of 2020. And we typically have 16 to 18 students on average that go there for another full semester in Cape Town, South Africa, study abroad, where they do their maternity and pediatric rotations. Belgium is one of those capstone short-term 2-week study abroads that happens this senior semester, the beginning of the semester. I had the privilege of going with a group of outstanding seniors this year, the 5 students there, and it began the first 2 weeks of the semester. So it counts toward their clinical, so it's not any missed clinical time, and it's all focused on end-of-life care and palliative care. So all the activities, the site visits, the lectures, the activities they participate in groups. It's a multidisciplinary opportunity or conference. It's an international conference with students in occupational health, physical therapy, nursing from 8 or 9 different countries that come together for this 2-week intensive. We are also looking for interest and have plans, provided we have enough students, to go to Beijing, China. We're looking at a potential for a full semester study abroad for pediatrics and maternity for this, and it would be at Peking University. So there's preparations and plans underway to hopefully make this happen in spring of 2020. So in closing here, we are a wonderful institution and university and school to study and to learn and to grow and to develop as a person. We hope that all of you will make your decision to come to Uconn School of Nursing when that deadline of May 1st comes around, when you're supposed to place your deposit. Let me know if you have any questions, and thank you so much for joining us today. Yes, we have a question up here.
The ATI exam, how is that implemented throughout the program? In other words, is there a passing requirement?
So the question was about the ATI exam. So we have ATI exams in all the courses, and there's benchmarks set, but it does not prevent you from advancing to the next course, but it provides you a knowledge of what you need to remediate and complete focused reviews on in order to complete the requirements for those ATI assignments to move on.
And it won't prevent you from graduating.
Any other questions? If you'd like to come up and see me, I'm happy to field some questions up here. Thank you all, and have a great rest of your day.